Hey guys, we are back with, episode 57 of Designed. And today I am going to introduce this book that I'll be reading called The Ultimate Coach by Amy Hardison and Alan D. Thompson. And what it is it's not a book about coaching. Yeah, it's called The Ultimate Coach, but what it really is about it's about being. And the subject of the book is a man named Steve Hardison, and he is a coach to a lot of coaches that a lot of us in the business and self improvement world seek out to improve our lives. All right, what's the point of the book? The point of the book is so that you can see yourself in the book. And what that means is um, to look at the life of Steve Hardison and look at the examples and see where how those examples compare up to events in your life, hardships in your life, successes in your life, moments that you've shined in your life, moments where you have confronted fear in your life, right? Moments that have made you depressed or made you sad, right? And the point is to read it as if it's about you. So for example, if let's say you had a book, what would be in the book? What are the lessons and the learnings, the transformations, the turning points, the turning defeat into victory? What are those moments for you that have shaped who you are? With the understanding that we as humans are shaped by our environment and our behavior and our thoughts and our intentions and our actions that we put out into the world. And the big lesson, this is kind of like going backwards, but I have to introduce this book, or otherwise um, it'll be a little confusing to you if you aren't familiar with Steve Hardison or with the world of performance coaching or the world of like self improvement, like Tony Robbins, right? Most people know who Tony Robbins is, right? But there's an entire world where people are trying to improve themselves in various ways, and one of the really effective ways of doing that is to look into who you have been being thus far. And what that means is, what is the deep, very deep operating system programming of your mind and heart, hidden beliefs that you weren't even aware of? So, what are the hidden beliefs about yourself, about other people, and about the world about which you are actually unaware until you sit down and think about it and start maybe journaling or start talking to somebody else about it, right? And a lot of people never even reach this point. They live their lives thinking, well, this is who I am. And what Steve Hardison presents is really a groundbreaking idea. The idea is that who you are is a construct. It's not set in stone. You can be anything. For example, you can decide to be Mr. Rogers tomorrow. You can look at Mr. Rogers, think of it like an actor. You know, if you study the character of Mr. Rogers and you say, well, I'm going to act like Mr. Rogers all day, and I'm going to think like Mr. Rogers all day, and I'm going to believe the things that Mr. Rogers believes all day, right? The point here is that that's actually not different than what you're doing now. You already do this. You already have the power because you do it right now. You have you to to fill this empty cup of yourself, you already have that power. So if you can tap into that power and actually understand it, you already have it. You don't have to go and get it anywhere. You already have it. So if you can start to wield it, that's really the point here. Once we start to wield this power, you can turn things around. You can create a new being, create a new character of yourself where you're not acting. You're. It's almost like you're acting your way into it. I'll give you an example. So Heath Ledger, um, before he, ended his life, practiced method acting, and it's a way of acting, method acting, where you are embodying the character that you are going to play in that movie or TV show. And Jack Nicholson uh, played the Joker in the '90s, in the I think it was the Michael Keaton Batman with that Prince music in the soundtrack. I think it was Prince and U2 were the main artists on that soundtrack. And he warned Heath Ledger about that role because if you spend months acting like the Joker, from a perspective, you'll go crazy because the Joker is crazy, right? So the same way we can act like Joker and then become Joker, we can be it. And that's why Steve Hardison uses this term being, right? It's not who you're believing about yourself because you don't have to believe it. You just have to be it. And you have to commit to certain actions, to some flagship actions that are part of that being, right? And so that's what method acting is all about. Likewise, if you want to make a shift in your life, the past month I've been reading Shift Your Mind, Shift the World by Steve Hardison. If you want to very quickly and powerfully make a shift in your life, one way to do that is to start with being, is to literally, and there's many ways to do this. You can think of a character, you can write it out. You can write out who your version of Mr. Rogers is. Write it out. How does he think? How does he walk? How does he talk? How does he talk to people? Right? How is he like when he's writing emails? Right? Who is he being when he's talking? Who is he being when he walks down the street? Who is he being when he presents? And you can write all that out and you can read it and practice it the same way a method actor reads his lines, right? So the method actor reads his lines and gets to a point where he embodies. I took an acting class and with one of the actors from Boardwalk Empire, and what he was teaching us was when you read the script, you have to embody it and get into it, so that you understand why that character is saying those lines. So in that way, acting is not really pretending; it's embodying who that character is temporarily. Temporarily. So Steve Hardison's point is that, well, what if you just did that all the time? What if you decided? You don't have to believe in yourself to change, to embody a new being. You just have to decide. The same way an actor, okay, well, it's 8 a.m. It's time for me to do my acting job. I'm going to look at my lines and I'm going to get into character. And and I have to be in character until we finish shooting today. And then I can relax and be myself. The idea of that is that you practiced being you. This construct that you call you is made up. You've practiced that for 30, 40, 50 years. And that's why you're so good at it. But what if you practice being somebody else? Maybe there's a fantasy self you have inside you that you don't share with people, that you'd really like to be like that person. What if you said, I'm going to go to the grocery store and I'm going to be that person for, however long I'm at the grocery store, and then I can turn it off, right? What we haven't learned is that you can turn off who you're being right now. You can just turn it off. And you can decide to be somebody else, and you can detail it out, actually. Okay. So that's my intro to this book. And what I want to do is one thing that Steve said is he wants us to read the back cover of the book and then read the intro, the forward of the book before we read any part of the book. So, um, following his advice, that's what I'm going to do. So, whenever I start reading the book, every time I get on live stream, I'm going to read the back of the book and then read the intro of the book, and then I'm going to flip to whatever page I'm at. Right. So that's his instructions for reading the book, because this is a manual. This is not a biography about his life. It is not a biography. Don't read it as if it's about a biography. Read it as if it's about you, so to speak. So to speak. Okay? So let's make sure that we're on the right page. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read, like he said, back cover, and then read the before you begin. And then we're actually going to end the stream because this is my intro to the book. All right. Dear potential reader, as you may have noticed, there are no testimonials on the back cover of this book imploring you to read it. I vetoed that. The only testimonial I am interested in is the one you will have from reading and experiencing this book. Please do not read this book about me. Read this book about you. Read it about being. As you read, ask yourself, who would I need to be a more loving person? Who would I need to be a more effective parent? Who would I need to be to create a level of confidence that is remarkable? Who would I need to be at peace with who I am? Who would I need to be fully in love with myself and my life? Who would I need to be to live the most extraordinary life I can live? I promise you that if you read this book with the intention of expanding your state of being, you will do exactly that. Your experience will be remarkable. Who you are being is everything. Loving you, be blessed, be you, Steve Hardison. And now, as per his instructions, we're going to skip to the beginning. And it's 2 pages. Before You Begin by Steve Hardison. I never wanted to write a book, and I haven't. I never wanted to have a book written about me, but here it is. This book is a gift from my wife, Amy, who wrote it, and my friend, Alan D. Thompson, who conducted the research and interviews on which it is based. And it's not just a gift to me, but to you too. And now you're reading it. So, with your permission, I'll give you some suggestions on how to read it. You see, this isn't an ordinary book. It's not simply a biography. It's not a self-help. It's not a self-help book. It's not a literary classic. It's definitely not a book about how to coach. In fact, it's not a book about doing anything. It's a book about being, and it's a book about you. To access this book, ask yourself these questions as you read. Who am I being as a partner, parent, or friend? Who am I being as a leader? Who am I being as a member of my community? Who would I need to have miracles show up in my daily life? Who would I need to be to create value in the work I do? second page. Who would I need to be to generate a life of abundance? Who would I need to be to alter my relationship with fear? Who would I need to be at peace with my past? Who would I need to step powerfully into my future? Who would I need to be present as a way of being? Who would I need to live the most extraordinary life I can live? Who would I need to know that my life makes a difference? Who would I need to be fully in love with myself and my life? Who would I need to improve my relationships with the most important people in my life? Who would I need to read The Ultimate Coach and have a personal breakthrough in being wonderful me? The best part about this book about you, is that it is endless. The story goes on, and it's written by your being. Loving you, be blessed, be you, Steve Hardison. All right, guys. So that was the intro to the book, and I'm going to read that little intro every time I start reading. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream and have a happy Thanksgiving Thursday.